The voluntary wipe didn't fail because players exploited it. It failed because Arc Raiders doesn't know what it's asking players to care about. Shortly after the wipe went live, players who had stockpiled blueprints for friends traded them back almost immediately, bypassing early progression entirely. Workbench resets caused irritation instead of a drive to reprogress, and the special skin reward for wiping felt underwhelming to a lot of the people who earned it. When a reset produces boredom, annoyance, and disappointment instead of tension, the system itself is telling you something. To understand why this wipe isn't landing the way many players expected, we have to be clear about what it was meant to do. The voluntary wipe was supposed to restore stakes without forcing commitment. It was supposed to reintroduce that early game sense of fragility, and it was supposed to offer meaning by resetting your progression in exchange for a visible reward. So the real questions are simple. Did the stakes actually return? Did players feel fragile again? Did the reward feel like a badge of survival? Or, to put it bluntly, was the juice worth the squeeze? What actually happened was very different. Blueprint trading between wiped and non-wiped players bypassed early progression almost immediately. The same free kit meta reasserted itself. Rather than revitalizing interest, many players reported boredom and repetition faster than before. Workbench resets didn't create tension. They created frustration instead. And for players who did wipe, the special skin reward was often described as forgettable. This is not a failure of the player base. This is the system behaving exactly as designed when put under pressure. This wasn't abuse, it wasn't cheating, it was a system stress test, and the system almost immediately folded like a lawn chair. Whenever meaning collapses in a game, players look for a cause. And when they don't have language for structural failure, they start moralizing player behavior. And you see it immediately. Blueprint trading ruined it. You're not supposed to rush progression. Losing workbenches is too punishing. But the truth is actually systemic. Arc Raider systems don't enforce meaning, so the community tries to enforce meaning socially. Blueprint trading didn't ruin the wipe. Workbench reset didn't ruin the wipe. It revealed how little resistance the progression actually has. If you felt bored after the wipe, it's because knowledge dominance has flattened the game. Early game can't feel fragile again once you understand that basic weapons compete with higher tier ones. You don't feel like a vulnerable new character, you feel like a twink in an RPG game. The risk didn't increase and the reward didn't scale to compensate. A wipe without real fragility is just a loading screen with extra steps. Workbench resets highlight a different problem. The first time through, unlocking workbenches feels like a goal. The second time through, though, they unlock after a few hours. So the wipe doesn't reset the power curve. It's just delaying convenience. So instead of feeling vulnerable, players feel arbitrarily slowed down. You can't reset mastery without reintroducing the fear of loss. The cosmetic reward exposes the same issue symbolically. The special skin was meant to justify the reset, signal endurance, and act as a status marker. But it didn't feel rare. It didn't feel expressive. It didn't feel earned through danger. Cosmetics only matter when they represent something meaningful. If the journey wasn't tense, the reward doesn't carry weight. Even permanent progression doesn't escape this. The passive skill tree is intentionally conservative. The perks are designed specifically to not give meaningful advantage. And that protects casual players, but it also removes stakes. A wiped player and a progressed player feel functionally similar in real encounters. When even permanent progression is afraid to matter, resets can't restore meaning to the game. What you're left with is a progress reset that feels trivial, a systems reset that feels resented, account perks that barely register, and a symbolic reward that feels hollow. And it's all from the same root cause. Arc Raiders systematically avoids letting anything create too much advantage, and by doing so, avoids letting anything create tension. Voluntary wipes, softer PvE-friendly matchmaking, and low-impact progression all come from the same inherent design fear: avoiding danger. Optional tension is not tension. It is permission for the systems to be ignored. For wipes to work, they have to be forced, and progression has to matter enough that reprogressing feels dangerous, not procedural. This is an important moment for Embark. They ran a clean experiment and got immediate, consistent feedback. Repeating the same mechanics without committing to a clear identity isn't going to change the outcome. If the next expedition uses the same wipe structure, I think the population cliff is unfortunately unavoidable. And this isn't about toxicity or complaining or wanting the game to fail. I want the game to succeed. But the community reaction to the wipe isn't just noise. It's the system speaking clearly if you have the ears to hear it. Arc Raiders doesn't have a wipe problem. It has a meaning problem. And as I said in my previous video on this matter, you can't design around danger and then apologize for it. Like, follow, and subscribe for more commentary and analysis.